What's up, Liron here, and today we're reviewing paints from KwartsCreations. What's up, Liron here. Thank you for joining me in another video. As I mentioned, today we'll be reviewing these paints from KwartsCreations. Katie from KwartsCreations reached out to me via email and asked if I would be interested in trying out her paints. She has an Etsy store in which she sells those. And so I will show you what they look like and review them, give you the pros and cons. But what I will say is this. You may have your favorite brand, the paints you like to use the most. What I really like about her store is that she makes so many customized palettes that have very unique color schemes. So if you're looking for something that focuses more around blues or purples or things like this, these can be really fun to try out, and they come in these small cute palettes. What I also wanted to show you, and I'm going to put links to everything in the description box below, to her store, to her Instagram page and everything, is this little sketch that I made using her paints. That was actually a preparatory sketch for this larger piece. Okay, so hopefully you can see how these two work together. And so I will talk about, again, what I liked about them, what I think could be improved, and I'm gonna just show them to you. So with that being said, let's change the angle and get started. Okay, so let's get started, and Katie's store is called KwartsCreations. And to be honest, so if some of this, I'm gonna just give a quick, let's say, a disclaimer. So I started opening it up, and because it was so pretty, I just put everything back in and decided to do this on camera. So if something is already open, that's me, I did it. Now, a second disclaimer is, I took my sweet time with it, and I went to the US, and so it took me time to finally get to review this. So there are a few things here that got spoiled. It's not like her fault, not Katie's fault, it's Candy's. So let me show you what I've got here. So that's the first thing I noticed was this wrapping, and in it this eye ripped, so it was connected properly. So this is actually a couple of candies rolled up in this paper, which is really a nice touch and funny. So you see here it leaked. That's my fault, my bad. I took my time with it. It's been like months, and I should have opened it much earlier than that. But thank you so much for the candies. And there was a lot more of this, but I took it out. Next up, so we've got the main thing here that I want to show you in just a moment, which is the color combination that she sent me. We're going to set this aside for just one moment here. And there is a dot page like this, showing all of the paints. So we have soft blueberry, crispy apple, golden banana, and deep orange. This I can't wait to try. It looks like it's printed on a very nice piece of paper. So let's first take a look at this and check it out. And I'll show it to you up close. And I'm actually, I told her that I'm gonna play around with the paints. So I'm recording this, but then I'll take a break, a few days, play around with them, see how they work, and then I'll decide on the review and how I'm gonna do it. So this is her card, KwartsCreations. You can see here also Instagram. So, and we have the dot card. Now some of it dried and fell off. That's okay. That does not indicate anything about the paint. It's just that it's been here for a while. So I'm gonna have to reawaken it and see what it looks like. We're gonna do all of that in just a moment. So we've got this one here. Now let's get to the main thing, which is this palette. So the set that she sent me is the basics set, and I told her, I asked her to send me something very basic. I just like primary colors and a very simple color scheme. So we've got the box here, again another card. I'll set this aside, and a place to swatch it all out, which is probably the first thing I will do to show you what they look like after I play around with them separately. And this brings us to the actual box. And I love these kinds of boxes. It's really cute, and I'll probably use it. So we've got here Rouge, Ultramarine Blue, yellow, Ivory Black, brown, yellow, ochre. Very nice palette, some brown, some black I don't usually use, but I'm okay with it, so I may try it out. Red, blue, and what I want to do maybe is we can take these out, or maybe one of them is good, and we're just gonna see what it looks like inside here.
So we've got this, a very nice packaging, I have to say. It's her own store, and this is like products, and making products is so challenging, that and it takes so much thought into it. So I really appreciate how everything's wrapped up here nicely. So here we go, brown. Oh, and it has a magnet at the bottom, so probably it can. Oh yeah, that's so cool. It magnetizes. Okay, yeah, that's a nice touch. Wasn't expecting that. So here we go. Here's the paint. I'm gonna just undo all of them because I'm gonna use them anyway, so might as well do it on camera. So this is the brown, and it's gonna magnetize right back into the palette. Really cool. Haven't thought of that. Here we have the yellow ochre. So let's see what this one looks like. And the paints look really nice in their palettes. Let's say they didn't break or crack or anything. Really nice. So this is our yellow ochre. Put this one right next to the brown. Next up, we've got Porto Rouge. So that's gotta be red. Duh. Let's see what this one looks like. Here we go. Beautiful. Oh, it also has a small sticker on it saying the color. That's really useful. Okay, so I won't forget. I was afraid that I may forget later on. We've got this one, and I'm actually gonna use this to test it out. So it's gonna be fun. Then we have Ultramarine Blue. Let's check it out. I love these kinds of things. Oh, that's nice. So it's a beautiful, beautiful blue. I haven't seen lots of French ultramarines that look like this out of the tube or out of the box. It's a bit more blue and less, let's say, it has a bit of warmth to it. I can see it, that's for sure. But we'll have to test it out on paper. And we have two others. So we've got this yellow here. There we go. Let's see what this one looks like. Probably, let's say, cooler lemony yellow or neutral. This one looks quite neutral, which is good. I don't like lemon yellow as much. Yellow. I'm gonna place it right here in its spot. This is really handy for testing it out. So we've got the last one, Ivory Black. Okay, so this sums it all up. Here we go in this cute little palette. And now I'm ready to test these out. So what I'm gonna do is go off camera, test these out for like a day or two, and then I'll continue. I just felt the need to do the unboxing right now, okay? So, and I'm gonna save this, I'm gonna save this for later, and for now I'm gonna move everything aside, play around with these a bit, and come back and review them for you. I hope you enjoyed this one so far. Okay, so it's been a few days now, and I think I finished trying these out and thoroughly reviewing them. Here's one of the things I did, and I showed you in the introduction probably. Just a quick sketch based off of that. That ended up being a preparatory sketch for a larger painting. I did a few swatches, and what I want to show you, and by the way, here's the palette after being used for a while. So what I think we're going to do, the best course of action here, is to show you what these look like. Okay, so we're going to just paint them over this piece of paper, and then I'm going to show you the summer fruits set that she sent me also to try out. Again, some of this that, you know, the paint that cracked a bit, and that's partially my fault because I kind of it took me a while to get to these and review them, so they were a bit different fresh off, but as you can see, it's more common in some paints there than others. Again, in terms of the quality, and this is something I want to talk about, I'm very pleased with them actually. The one complaint I may have is that the French ultramarine wasn't the sorry, not French ultramarine, it is ultramarine blue, I couldn't get the level of darkness that I wanted, but that was alleviated by adding some ivory black to it. So that's my one qualm with it, but other than that, I'm really pleased with it, and especially how this little sketch turned out. I have a few other drafts that I did. So what we're going to do now is do this. We're going to swatch it out. I'm just going to rearrange some stuff and we'll get started. Okay, so we'll get started here, and I don't remember if I mentioned even, but these pens are magnetized, which I find pretty awesome. So you can see here, sorry, wasn't showing it properly, and then it tacks to this one, to this little metal pellet, which I like a lot. Also, just to give you a more up-close view of the thing itself. So what I'm gonna do now, and I didn't use this area for mixing at all, I may use it now a bit. I want to show you what every paint looks like. Now, a lot of you are scared about contamination and having, you know, your paints contaminate, especially yellows. I'm never worried about that because I want to use my palette freely. So what I want to show you now is how you can very easily just get rid of the contaminated paint and paint normally, and then you don't have to worry too much about these things. So already I reached some pure paint, and you can see here pure, beautiful yellow. And I guess we'll start with that here. So this is what the yellow looks like. Beautiful. This is one of my favorites here, really. It's so happy and I guess it's very neutral. It's not warm, but I love it a lot. So we'll start with that. Next up, I want to do the yellow ochre. We're going to go to the other corner, and same thing here. It's a bit contaminated, so all I have to do really is just dig through the contamination, especially with a synthetic brush. It's so easy to do that, and already we're in clean grounds here. So I'm going to start a little lighter with this one just to show you what it looks like at its lightest version. Then I'm going to pick up some more paint. And you know, yellow ochre is a paint I love. I always loved it, I guess because it looks so natural, and I love these kinds of natural landscapes that are very beautiful in my opinion, very soft, and the greens aren't too popping, and you know, they're very muted, which leads to a lot of feeling of light and brightness that I love. Next up, let's do the Ivory Black, and now this is the one that really can get to a very dark value, which I like. If you know me, you know that I don't really use blacks as much. I just find them unnecessary for the type of work I do. I use my primary colors to mix the black color. But this is useful. I know a lot of people make use of this. You could use this as kind of a neutral tint. It's not, I don't think it's 100% neutral. It feels a little warm to me. But in any case, you could definitely use it as that. And, you know, neutral tint isn't really neutral as well. We don't talk about that enough. So in any case, and here's a more up-close view of the palette as I take out the paint. And you see this can really reach a darker value, as dark as you need. I'm going to be using this for a lot of monochromatic sketching exercises. It's going to be a really fun one to use. Next up, we have the red. This one's again fairly contaminated by the blue mainly, so we're just going to dig in through those layers of contamination. Now, if you don't want to spend time digging in through them, I understand. That's totally okay if you want to keep them very clean and pure. It's just not my style and not the thing I like to concern myself with. So if it works for you to keep them clean, definitely do that. You don't have to do things the way I do them. And I'm letting some of the paint blend together. I don't mind that anymore. You see a bit of touches of blue because I messed up and touched the blue. But in any case, this is the Rouge, what's it say? Porto, yeah. So beautiful color as well. Very different from the, I guess, more quinacridones and alizarins. This one has a bit more of pink in it, which I love. Next up, we're going to do the brown. So I guess this would be similar to a, I don't know if burnt umber. I haven't even used this one for the painting. I used it just for one swatch. This one cracked the worst, so there's a part of it that fell off. But this kind of reminds me of a burnt sienna, you know, when I use it, just a more brown type. And this one can get significantly darker as well, as you can see here. And finally, the Ultramarine Blue. Now again, this is the one that I had a bit of trouble with in terms of producing a dark enough value. I don't know why. I found that even when it looks dark, it ends up drying a little lighter. And it could be my fault. Maybe I just wasn't using enough paint. For sure that's the case, and usually when you look at pans you can tell how dark they become just by looking at them. For example, the yellow is not going to be too dark because it's just tons of layers of the paint, so the blue can become pretty dark, but the ivory black can become really dark. Okay, so that's one thing to take into consideration. And I do want to show you also some mixes of these, just showing you. I'm going to dip straight into the yellow here. I want to show you what this looks like as a green. So again, you see a very natural, neutral green. You can't really produce too bright greens with French ultramarine because it's such a warm blue, that it has a bit of redness to it. And that leads to very muted greens, especially with yellow ochre. If you want to produce a nice green with a yellow ochre, I would mix that with phthalo green or with phthalo blue. These create some beautiful, more vibrant, but still natural green. So this is what you get. If we're going to go over to the orange side of things, I'm going to use a bit of both here. You get, you can get two types of oranges again with the what you call the yellow ochre, I just forgot the word for a moment, and with the lemony or more neutral yellow. I love the oranges that this produces. The purples that this one produces, and this is totally my personal taste, I didn't like as much. That's just my opinion, okay? So don't take that into consideration too much. So in any case, here's some secondary colors mixing here. A beautiful palette, and I love the fact that it has two yellows in it, because I do find that I need the neutral one in the yellow ochre. Sometimes I just love it, so it's good to have around. Now I'm going to move on to the summer fruits little swatch or piece of paper. We're going to just reactivate those. So this is soft blueberry. I just want you to see what these look like. So this is a bit of a more it has a bit more yellow than this one has a bit more red in terms of blue. A bit more cerulean-ish, or maybe Prussian even. And it's funny, I didn't do the research at all in terms of the pigments or anything like that, but you can read everything on her page, on her store on Etsy. I just wanted to try out the paints and see what they look like and how they feel like to work with. The one thing with this one, I don't think this can achieve too dark of value as well. Or it takes at least a lot of work. You see, I'm really digging through the paint. And this one she gave me just as a testing, tester, because this is the main palette that she gave me. So here we have Crispy Apple. Oh, this one's nice. This can become quite dark, and I can see this green mixing very well with others. It's a bit muted, so it won't be too aggressive, I guess. Now I'm going to thoroughly clean my brush, because I want to start showing you the yellow as well. Golden banana. And if you like these kinds of, special colors that were made just for you and special names, I would definitely give her store a go. In deep orange. Oh, I love this one. This one I think I'm going to love. It's the one that fell apart. This reminds me a bit of, I believe, Schminckes Saturn or something like that. They have a Saturn orange or pink. And this really reminds me of that. Of course, it's orange, it's not pink, but just the level of... So this is a very artificial orange. And usually, I talk about how I love neutral paints, but this one I would really love as well. And the reason why is that sometimes it's nice to have a touch of an artificial paint to bring something to life. So for example, you do a rather muted painting, but then you have a person walking by and you want to have their shirt like bright orange, and these are the types of paints that it's really hard to mix on your own, so it's actually good to have them with you. And in any case, I think this is really it. This is everything that I did with these. I hope you enjoyed seeing these paints in action. Again, the power of these kinds of small stores that make paints, and here's her card, by the way. The power of these smaller stores, as opposed to the larger watercolor brands, is that you do get this nice customization with a very unique paints all together bundled up, and you get to try these out. So I really recommend you check out her store. I had a lot of fun with these, and I'm probably going to use them a lot. Just for small sketches and stuff like that, and not necessarily like they're not inferior or anything, but because it's such a small palette, the thing that comes most naturally to me is to do quick exercises and things of that nature with them, and exercises are really important actually. So yeah, so here's the quick sketch that I did using these. And you can see I wasn't able to get such a dark value with the French Ultramarine, but maybe it was just me using not enough paint and too much water. But in any case, this is it. I hope you enjoyed seeing all of these, and now it's time to wrap up this video.
So this is it. I really hope you enjoyed this review, seeing these in action, and then you get to see how dirty and how quickly my palette gets dirty. Regardless, these paints, as you've seen, I like the quality, I enjoy them a lot, and I love the fact that you can get a very special set in a palette. I love the way it's designed with all the magnetized pens. I love that little trick. Some of them crack a bit, you know, after being left for a long time. But to be fair, again, it took me some time to get to these and review them. They were in a little bit of a better shape when they got here, so it's just partially my fault. But in any case, again, I really love these, and I love the color combination here. And I think they are worth giving a shot, especially if you're looking for something very specific and you don't necessarily want to buy all of these tubes of paint that can end up being a little more expensive. So this is a nice little thing to try out. As I said, I will put links to everything in the description box below. Katie's store on Etsy, her Instagram page. I just think it's worth checking out. So in any case, thank you so much for watching this video. I have a few very interesting videos coming up this week as well. Some more painting processes, more interesting stuff. I did a lot of portraits recently, portrait paintings, and so you've probably seen some of them if you've been following me on Instagram, and I will soon share these here again. So if you're on Instagram, you get the quickest, fastest update, and then after a while it also trickles down to YouTube. So you've probably seen some of them there. I think I really nailed some of these portraits in a way and in a work method that many of you will find very fun to try out. So lots of good things to expect. I want to thank you so much once again for watching this video. I really appreciate all of the comments and supports and emails and messages and everything that you send me. Thank you once again, and I will see you again in another vid real soon.